One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 15 seconds. Sounds pretty good. Way better than 4. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay. Hello, everybody. What are we doing here? Where are we and what are we doing here? Okay, let me stand up. Hey, we're not going anywhere, Buddha. Don't get excited. All right, we are here. So we're at Hunter's Point. This is a naval shipyard, or was a naval shipyard, and it's the closest parallel or case study that I could come up with for discussion and trying to find research about what we do with Santa Monica Airport. Okay, so let's walk around. Are we still streaming? How's that? A little better connection? Okay. Let's get a good shot. So what we're looking at over there, so I got a good camera angle. Let's let's get a good shot of what we got. Okay, so as you can see, let's actually get a little closer to the edge. Okay, that's not bad. Okay, it's a longer cable. I can do for some reason I can't do longer cable. Okay, so let's see.
Setting the scene. Your wheeled backpack V4 plus Starlink rig lets you roll straight into sites and live stream what you find. Think of it as a field studio on demand, perfect for comparing 3 Bay Area airfields turned brownfields where parkland, housing, and cleanup politics collide. 1. Candlestick Point State Recreation Area F. Aspect Key Facts. Origins, created in 1977 after Bayview Hunters Point residents fought to reclaim a shoreline dump, becoming California's first urban state park. Site turned search, scale tied to 204 acres of bayfront open space, wetlands restoration, fishing pier, and trail network. Current work, state parks in the city's OCII expect underground utilities and sea level rise infrastructure to break ground late 2025, early 2026. 2-year schedule. Site turn search, wider plan. The Candlestick Point Suburbia plan knits new housing, retail, and transit into the park edge while preserving shoreline access. Takeaway: decades of community activism secured park status first, then layered redevelopment around it. Proof that grassroots pressure can steer state-level agencies toward environmental justice. Number 2. Hunters Point Naval Shipyard, SF, Aspect, Key Facts. Legacy contamination, nuclear testing rad waste, solvents, heavy metals. Superfund since 1989. Cleanup status, Navy starting final Parcel C and B1 soil remediation in summer 2025. Site D-turn search, 1-turn search 7. Litigation watch, 2025 court rulings trimmed, but did not dismiss, claims that the Navy is behind on mandatory 5-year reviews. Site turn search, developer-backed settlement offers over data falsification scandals have been rejected as inadequate. Site search, Tetra Tech EC agreed to a $97 million federal fraud settlement in January 2025. Site turn News 11, redevelopment vision, 12,000 home mini-city contingent on full retesting and regulatory sign-off. Takeaway, cleanup credibility is everything. Data manipulation scandals cost years and eroded public trust. An object lesson for Santa Monica to insist on transparent third-party verification from day one. Nash 3, Santa Monica Airport, Aspect, Key Facts, Closure Clock. Guaranteed shutdown on Dec 31st, 2028 under 2017 FAA agreement.
Debatable.
Planning process, 21-month airport conversion project now in phase 3. Council to pick a preferred scenario by late 2005, South 3 Church Ash.
Pick a preferred
Competing
scenario.
visions.
All that involves
Great park
redoing
only.
a vote.
Measure LC
Joke.
purists. Hybrid park plus
Sorry.
affordable
Calm down.
housing. Revenue-oriented mixed use. Recent council vote advanced park-heavy studies after pro-housing amendment failed. Site turn search 2, Planning Commission still probing housing mechanics. Site turn search community pulse. Local Democratic Club backs great park stance, while polls show a split electorate over including housing. Site earn 3 search, 1 and 3 search 5. Takeaway: SMO's debate echoes Candlestick's early years, a tug of war between open space champions and housing advocates, with environmental health, lead, PFAS, soil vapor as the referee. Number 4. Cross-site parallels and lessons. Theme Candlestick, Hunters Point, Santa Monica Airport. Implications: brownfield remediation, dump to park cleanup, wetlands restoration, radioactive and chemical superfund, long litigation, leaded avgas soils, potential PFAS, budget early for robust site investigations and independent audits. Governance model: state parks OCII, Navy BRAC, plus city developers, city-led under Measure LC. Pick a clear lead agency. Demand open data portals for remediation status. Community justice, resident-led park creation, EJ lawsuits and mistrust. Neighbors push for pollution-free reuse. Use community advisory boards with real decision power. Park versus housing tension. Park anchored first, housing later. Housing contingent on cleanup. Clash now in full swing. Explore phased hybrid zoning that protects park acreage while meeting RHNA housing mandates. Funding and phasing state bonds, Prop 84, philanthropy, federal cleanup, private development, local bonds, state grants, potential ballot measure. Blend green infrastructure grants with affordable housing tax credits. Require escrowed remediation funds. 5. Strategic recommendations for SMO. 1. Transparent science early. Commission third-party soil, groundwater, and noise studies live-streamed. Your backpack V4 rig can broadcast sampling in real time. Publish data in open GIS layers to avoid Hunters Point-style credibility gaps. 2. EJ and community governance. Seat a resident majority advisory board modeled on Candlestick's Friends of Candlestick, but empowered to veto remediation shortcuts. 3. Hybrid land use scenario. Carve out a non-negotiable ecological core, wetland recharge, urban forest, to satisfy Measure LC, then cluster 20 to 30 acres of affordable housing near transit edges. Use inclusionary zoning and community land trusts to lock in affordability. 4. Funding stack. Pair a municipal GO bond, park infrastructure, with state affordable housing and sustainable communities, HSC grants. Pursue federal RAISE or IRA climate resilience funds for stormwater capture like Candlestick Sea Rise Utilities Trench. 5. Accountability tech. Deploy your Starlink enabled field kit to live stream council site walks, drone map contaminated hotspots, and archive progress as a built in anti fraud measure. Number 6. Next investigation moves, timeline, action. Now Q4 2025. Join SMO Conversion Project workshops. Submit written comments referencing Candlestick Hunters Point case law and cleanup standards. Early 2026. Advocate for an SMO environmental data dashboard linking lab results, contract milestones, and budget spend. 2026 to 2027. Pilot small plot phytoremediation, mustard poplar, on non-operational infields. Document efficacy with your backpack lab stream. 2028. Stage a closing day symposium broadcasting lessons learned for other city-owned airports, Hawthorne, Reed Hillview, facing similar fates. Bottom line, Candlestick shows that a community-first, park-anchored plan can reclaim toxic land. Hunters Point warns that sloppy science can stall housing for decades. Santa Monica still has time to get the balance right if it bakes transparency, environmental justice, and phased funding into the master plan from day one.
Man, I should brought my good tripod out here. This sucks. Look at that thing. Look at the history of that. Incredible. Look at that right next to it. We're doing research right now. Maybe in the meantime, should we watch a video? Maybe let's do okay. Let's switch over. Let's see. Okay, so that looks like the artist area over there. Let's switch back. So that's the channel that one we were looking at. Oh, you haven't heard anything I've been saying? I'm so sorry. Um, okay. So, uh, let's switch back. So we have, all right, so we're looking at this dry dock right here. Let's switch over back here. That's this dry dock right here. So we're looking at artist, artist collective here. Oh, hold on. Oh, my mouse is different. I have to look at the mouse on the screen. This is the artist collective here, it looks like, and we have commercial going all up and down here. So let's switch back. So that's the main channel. So it looks like this whole area is going to be artist, and then that's all commercial, and then looks like was it dense housing right here, and then the fancy people with the nice view that way. Let's switch back. Now here we go. So okay, so we have dense housing. Let's get the mass. All right, here we go. So here we are. This is where we are right now. We were just looking at this. This is the commercial we were looking at. Dense housing artist. Okay, let's look to the right now. So on the right, they're going to be building a park in the middle there. Purple. It's purple. Commercial. Tons of commercial. And then that looks like a center park area. And then here we go, soccer fields for all you guys. So we have center park here, commercial. It's wild that all of that's commercial. Okay, whatever. And then here's the baseball fields and the soccer fields they're going to build, which gets the people happy. So let's switch over back to the map so we can see what that's like. Oh, hold on. Okay, so it looks like they're leaving the soccer fields, which already kind of grassy grass already right now. And then let's see, that all is they're gonna turn that all into park. Let's switch back. Yeah, so that's all gonna be park and housing. Okay. And then we have the slaw here, and that's gonna the thing is are you gonna be able to connect all the goal would be is if you could go from this park all the way all the way through because I was at the point here and the guy we're going to talk about this when we get over here we're going to talk about the candlestick later but I just wanted you to see this overview of the plan that's going on here. All right. And again, the radioactive stuff was down over there, and that the people that live over there, those are very interesting. That's the town I was telling you about. That people, I haven't seen the type of cars and the amount of like active cars that like are like working but like really crashed. I don't know how to describe it. So maybe if we're, I don't know if we're gonna drive around live streaming. We'll see what we end up. Okay, that was cool. Um, and but yeah, think I think it's time we watch some videos. Okay, let's switch back. The steel, the steel fence doesn't let my keyboard work. Okay, tab, Apple tab. There we go, Apple tab, and then pick the map. No, we're gonna do that later.
Hi, my name is Charlie, and I am a community engagement interpreter at Candlestick Point State Recreation Area, the first urban state park in California and located in the beautiful South San Francisco on the San Francisco Bay. So climate change affects everyone everywhere, but especially here in San Francisco, there are some specific challenges that we are dealing with right now that are only going to get worse in the face of climate change. One of the best things about our parks is that we are on the edge of the San Francisco Bay. But what that means is that with sea level rise, parts of our park are going to be affected. In fact, it's estimated that by 2100, over 3% of San Francisco is slated to be underwater. And so here at Candlestick Point State Recreation Area, we're doing the best that we can to look at extreme high tide events like king tides to get an insight into what our park might look like into the future and to think if there are environmental or engineering decisions that we can make that could protect our park into the future. So how people can help on Earth Day. One of my favorite things to say is that Earth Day should be every day. But Earth Day and Earth Month is a great time of year to be dedicated to one or two things that you can change about your lifestyle. So what I recommend everyone do is think of one change that you can make in your life that might make your life more sustainable. Whether that is maybe taking a few less shopping trips and getting those great new clothes that you might only use once or twice. Maybe that's talking to your friends about going together to get a CSA box to support community-supported agriculture. Or one of my favorite things to do is to get involved in some local organizations that are doing amazing environmental work. Earth Day and Earth Month is a great time to get involved with local organizations. California state parks are doing tons of events, so as it gets closer to Earth Day, you can talk to your local parks, talk to other organizations, and see what they're doing and get involved. That way, environmental change doesn't just have to be on you. You can find a community of like-minded people and you can all work together to figure out how you can make some small changes to your life and how you can be together to make larger changes that'll help affect your community in a positive way.
Point Naval Shipyard is located in the southeast portion of the city of San Francisco, on a peninsula that extends into the San Francisco Bay. Hunters Point was operated as a commercial dry dock facility from 1869 until the Navy purchased the property in 1939. Following the attack on Pearl Harbor, the property became one of the U.S. Navy's major shipyards on the West Coast, playing a key role in the Pacific Theater during World War II. Around this time, luminescent devices such as deck markers came into widespread use aboard Navy ships. Some surfaces that needed to be illuminated without using electricity were coated with a radioluminescent paint, allowing personnel to locate controls, gauges, and walkways during operations. In 1946, following two atomic tests at Bikini Atoll in the South Pacific known as Operation Crossroads, waterfront areas at Hunters Point were used to dock and clean up ships contaminated during testing. This resulted in the creation of a special Radiation Safety Office and Program, later known as the Naval Radiological Defense Laboratory. The laboratory, also known as NRDL, played an important role in our National Defense Program, studying the effects of nuclear radiation. As more work began shifting to private shipyards in the late 1960s and early 1970s, use of the Hunters Point shipyard began to steadily decline until the yard was closed as an active naval facility in 1974. Hunters Point entered the Base Realignment and Closure Program in 1991. At that point, the Navy began a detailed review to determine potential radiological impacts to buildings and soil areas on the property. The process involved conducting an historical radiological assessment, or HRA, that ultimately documented findings from the assessment. An HRA serves as the equivalent to an investigative starting point that identifies if site activities require investigation. Field investigations are conducted to identify the nature and extent of contamination. HRAs are not limited to the footprint of areas to be studied. The Hunters Point HRA included a rigorous examination of historical information about any area where radiological operations could have occurred between 1939 to June 2003. It was based on expert analysis of thousands of historical records and more than 170 interviews with people who worked at Hunters Point. The goal for this process was to designate sites, including buildings, as impacted or non-impacted. This focused the search to areas where potential contamination might have occurred, allowing the Navy to further investigate and confirm if contamination existed. The HRA assessed a total of 882 sites at Hunters Point. Of these, 90 were identified as impacted by radiological materials, meaning there is the potential for radioactive materials to exist. In general, impacted sites require radiological surveys and soil sampling to determine if further remedial actions are necessary based on radiation levels in the soil or building materials. As part of the surveys and sampling, the Navy identified radiological compounds that could have been present at Hunters Point. Although some radiological activities began as early as 1939, most compounds identified stem from the NRDL's work at the shipyard from 1948 to 1969. Decommissioning of NRDL buildings was conducted and overseen by the Atomic Energy Commission in the 1960s and 70s. Radiological materials were removed and the laboratories were cleaned to the standards of the time. Those standards have changed over the years, and current work is focused on cleaning up Hunters Point to today's stricter standards. Remaining areas designated as impacted have undergone remediation, all according to CERCLA standards. This work is also being confirmed by additional testing. The Navy's first priority in its base realignment and closure cleanup work at Hunters Point is human health and safety. The Navy is committed to ensuring that cleanup processes are properly followed and that any potential risks are managed according to regulatory guidelines, doing so transparently in partnership with the community. For updates, visit our website for the latest information.
Yeah, so about that. So you've got all this stuff that kept us safe, realistically. Built all the things. Everything here was built to build the things to protect us. Cool, got that. Santa Monica Airport, same similar thing. Built the airplanes that protected us. The Douglas and very similar. This is just boats in this area. Um, the remediation, again, I'm just talking off the cuff, but like the remediation was paid for by the Navy here. I don't know who's going to pay for the remediation in Santa Monica. That's okay. We're not dealing with apples and apples. We're dealing with radiological here, and Santa Monica Airport. We're dealing with, we don't even know what, but we do know from the Boeing settlement or the McDonnell Douglas settlement or the Douglas settlement. So we know stuff's there. Okay, so we can see these piles are fascinating also. They look like they've been there. You saw they had stuff growing on them. They look like they've been there for a while. How about that thing was in the video? That was cool. Um, so just trying to like catch you guys up to speed on where my head's at. Um, okay, I think should we still stay here or should we walk around? If I walk around, I might lose some stuff. But if I do so, then we can read the signs. Is it time for sign reading? Yeah, let's take this on the road, I guess. I made my like little keyboard holder right here. Alright, I got my backpack. Let's not forget that. Let's not lose anything. Rule number one: don't lose anything. All right, here we go. This is the dream. This has been the whole idea. The thing is, I can't put the Starlink on my backpack because then I have the radiation right next to my head. So I'm just trying to stay away from that. So the shielding on the bottom is pretty good. That's for the guy who did the Baja with the Starlink on his head. Oh man, I'm hot. Okay, I can't. This jacket has to come off. I'm gonna cook. I'm already feeling it. What time is it? What time is it? Heads up display 2:44. And check my watch. Check my glasses. All right. I don't know what I just did, but alas. I need like I mean, audio is a whole nother equation, but we'll get there. We will get there. Okay, camera. You seem sad. You're still on? Oh my god, you're still on. How much battery do I have? 90. I can do this for 20 hours on this battery. All right. This is it. You're doing it. Now you saw the video. Now this is a process. I wish you could see. We could be if we were cell bonded and could like bond with this thing, that would be. Bro, this is literally you're just doing something nobody's ever done before right now. Just move on. Dragon cables and dragon cables. All right. Do you want to enable dictation? No. Are we still streaming? Is this still happening? Is this? Oh, you just saw my password. I gotta change my password. It's stupid. It's stupid, Morgan. You learn, you live and learn. Deal with this another day. All right. Let's see if I'm actually doing this. I'm over here. What's the delay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Ah, quite a bit. All right. Enter PC cam mode. Talking to robot. Okay. All right. Can I read this through my heads-up display? Okay. Let's try that. That sounds like a fun experiment. Okay. So this is me reading through my eyeglasses, not. Wow, this is crazy. I can actually read it. Okay. Then, in just 2 years after America's entry into World War II, this unique peninsula was transformed into a vast complex designed to repair and maintain the United Navy's Pacific Fleet. From the smallest vessel today, this waterfront would be unrecognized. Oh, wait. Oh, I should start over here. Okay, start over there. Punta de Concha. Punta de Concha. Concha. Shell? Wow, yeah. Spanish name given to the prominent peninsula known today as Hunter's Point. The name first appears on the chart Plano de Puerto de Francisco. 1777. I forgot about that. It's so funny that this is happening in 1776 by Jose de Canzares, first pilot of the Spanish vessel San Carlos for 100, I guess I can keep my head straight. I don't have to look at it. For 166 years, Hunters Point remained relatively undisturbed, except for the establishment of a small merchant shipyard. Does this have the thing about the Chinese? We'll get to, I think it's another one. Today, this waterfront would be unrecognizable to the Aholone who lived and worked along these shores. As we moved forward in the building, the next phase of the shipyard's history we recognized as honorably preceded us and the development which followed. Okay. Indigenous history, territory of the Ohlone people and favorite first permanent dry docks. When local citizens group plan to redevelop the community. So this has been going on. You see what I'm talking about? What are we? Okay. Okay. So it is 2025. Okay. That's what, 30 years? Okay. Okay. Just fix my hair. Everything's fine. And then we have 2005. Construction begins on a new transformative neighborhood. 2005, the construction. Wait, this to me, I'm trying to figure out the time scale here. This says 2005 construction begins. This to me looks under construction, but your sign. Um, who made this sign? Is this a city sign? Who? Oh, it's an equal house. So this must be part of the real estate development. So who has to clear the legitimacy of this, and who gets to tell the story? History is told by history is told by those who win the war. I mean, if you, obviously they won the war because they got to put the sign up here. Why do we have an equal housing opportunities on a? Okay, cool, very good information. We got it. Let us continue on our adventure. Ready, Buddha? You ready? No, we're going this way. This is totally happening. I'm doing it. It's wheeling my satellite and computer. This battery. It's so overkill, but it's awesome. Sign. We got info. Information. Let's post this up. Now 40,000. Back up. All right, we're doing good now. Okay, cool. All right, Hunter's Point. Oh, Indigenous history. Okay. Ohlone people are the Ohlone people are Native American people who lived on the Aboriginal lands between San Francisco and Monterey Bay for over 10,000 years. Monterey Bay. Wow. Is that close? That's like on the border of the Chumash, basically. Oh, who is in between the Chumash and these people? Okay, it's for another day. Before Spanish colonization, their traditional way of life was relatively stable until the arrival of the Spanish, of course, until in 1769. Mission San Francisco de Asis, also known as Mission Dolores. Okay, that was my question earlier about the mission in San Francisco. That answers that. So we got to check that out. That's maybe not today. The entire mission complex was constructed by Native American laborers. Severe living and working conditions and European diseases reduced the native population by the mission by over 75%. Of course, represented several tribes are actively involved in restoration and preservation of their lands and culture. I have to say everything out loud. All right, what was that? Huh. Okay, so those are the new houses. Is the whole neighborhood. All right, onward, I guess. Okay, stable. All right, see what we got. In 1866, about 30 acres, including submerged land. Submerged. Oh, interesting. Granted for the construction of a modern dry dock, the area's impermeable serpentine bedrock was an ideal location for a graving or stationary dry dock for the booming ship repair industry. The California Dry Dock Company opened Hunters Point by dry dock. In 1910, Chinese fishermen established lucrative fishing industry. A community of Chinese fishermen who have called Hunters Point home since the late 1800s joined together to form a large-scale shrimp large-scale shrimp fishery, testament to the Chinese contribution to San Francisco productive waterfront activities or in waterfront industries. Hunters Point was taken over by the Bethlehem Shipping Company in 1905 and renamed the Union Iron Works. Hunters Point Commercial Dry Dock Historic District is listed on the National Register of Historic Places. The third dry dock is built at shipyard capable of holding the world's largest ships. I forgot about my heart rate. Let's chill now. 70. Cool. All right. Do we need music? I mean, a lot of times I do this music. I don't know. Sometimes it's nice. I mean, I guess I like watching it with music, but this way I can edit it and I don't have to worry about. All right. There we go. We're stabilizing. All right. Let's. Hunters Point Shipyard. The U.S. Navy takes over. As World War II escalated, the Navy took ownership of the Union Iron Works from Bethlehem Steel in 1939, naming it Hunters Point Naval Shipyard. Shortly thereafter, San Francisco's Department of Health burned down the 6 remaining Chinese shrimp camps, citing unsanitary conditions and the War Powers Act of 19. Okay, so okay. So yes, probably there were unsanitary conditions, but this seems like a way of just clearing people out and just this is a polite way of covering it up. Remember, we're dealing with whatever real estate company is doing this. Okay, let's keep reading. Acquisition of land for military naval forces within weeks. The U.S. Navy condemned and Within weeks, the U.S. Navy condemned and purchased over 535 acres. The shipyard area houses the first artists, painters, and sculptors. Adrian Voisin purchased the old Albion Brewing Company castle and converted it into a private residence studio. The building, now private residence, still stands at 881 Indian Street. Initially, 88 homes and 23 businesses were displaced by U.S. Navy actions, and many were displaced before the end of the war. By 1945, the shipyard had grown to 979 acres of filled and unfilled tidal lands, 6 dry docks ranging from 420 feet to 1,000 feet in length. So there were six. I only counted three now, but maybe there's other ones. 1,000 feet. I mean, that's an aircraft carrier. 200 buildings. 200 buildings. 5 miles of berthing. 5 miles of berthing space. That's docks, basically, is what that means. And 17 miles of railroad tracks. The acquisition of Hunters Point by the U.S. Navy was the most significant event in the history of the district. Should we get some close-ups? Some weird filmmaking I'm doing. I'm like squatting over. Whoa, it almost fell over. That guy's cool. Okay. So that was there. That says now we should go there. I didn't go over there. Okay, we're going on a walk. We're button up, going to the next spot. As the rock climbers in Yosemite would say, we're migrating. Well, shit. This is not a good system. So what does this say? I almost fell over again. It's art. An enlarged version of antique Rococo style frame within landscape captures multiple views and perspective. Frame is interactive, invites visitors, passers. Funding by U.S. Department of Commerce, Economic Development Administration, collection of the Office of Community Investment Infrastructure. That Office of Community Investment and Infrastructure, OCI. That was the website we were on earlier. I'm pretty sure. Okay. Art. I mean, okay, so what are we looking at? We've got a giant picture frame with the bottom cut out. And this has been here for the last 10 years. So you guys put this here 10 years, or it was made in 20. Okay, I don't know how old this park is, but like when we're talking about Santa Monica Airport and this conversion, I don't think, I don't, I think they think it's just gonna happen. The 14-year-old who wants a park, like they're not gonna get a park. And I don't even think anybody born in Santa Monica would ever get to play in any of the parks in Santa Monica. I mean, where are we going? All right. I think this is a good place to. Oh, we should go back up to the neighborhood. Okay, let's do that. And here we go. What do you mean? Uh, I mean, he's friendly. What's the question though? Hi, let's go. Let's go. Yeah. Is is your dog friendly? Yeah, he's friendly, but don't interact with him. Is that what are you asking? Are you asking for the dogs to interact, or are you asking like what do you just tell me what you're asking? Are you worried about? Why are you worried about another dog attacking? Like we. Oh man. Even a baby stroller would be better than this thing. What do you think these things are for? Serious. What do you think these things are for? What, are they like? Yes. Thule canoes are made of tule reeds. So just have like gathering the reeds, the reed baskets. That's cool. Thule canoes are used by Ohlone people. Gathers and sufficient fire. A baby remnant built a traditional only could display at a hilltop where baby hunters play out was favored. So so nice. I mean, I just all right. Well, let's. I think it's a wrap for over here at Hunters Point. Let's migrate over to Candlestick, and we're gonna go see California's first urban state park. Thanks for joining me on this. I can switch cameras. Mm. This is as far as I can get with this cable. This that's crazy talk, but alas, again, thanks for tuning in. And if you made it all the way to the end, it's pretty impressive. Typically, nobody ever makes it to the end, but if you did, it means you're a true fan. So cool. This worked fairly well. We're gonna get to look at the audio later. We'll check in my car and check out Aurora Too Dark also. Whatever. I guess I can't really tell. That's not too bad. Actually, reasonable exposure. Yeah, that's legit. That's fine. Um, so cool beans, guys. Uh, thanks for being around. This is fun. This is the first like full experiment of this idea of like satellite mobile live streaming. I mean, I mean, if this is still going, we just. I mean, how long is this? Like satellite. An hour and a half. We just did an hour and a half satellite mobile live stream completely off the grid with this like all right, we're done.